Well, thank you everyone for joining us on this very special day. We're beyond delighted and thrilled to have owner and chairman Mark Wolf here to formally introduce Carducci as our new vice president of soccer operations and general manager. We'll just kick off with some initial remarks from each of them, and they'll turn it over to questions. And with that, Mark.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. We are thrilled to welcome Caitlin as the Pride's new vice president of soccer operations and our general manager. From the start, it was clear she brings a level of experience and leadership that stands out in this sport. She's worked at every level of the game and has a proven history of building championship caliber teams. Caitlin quickly emerges as the person who not only has the expertise, but also the vision that matches where we want this club to go. We've built a strong foundation here and believe she's the right person to elevate it and guide the Pride into this next era. We're confident she'll bring out the best in our players, support our technical staff, and continue strengthening the culture that makes this club special. We are so excited for what's ahead and proud to have you, Caitlin, to lead the way.
Thank you. Thank you very much. As Mr. Wolf said, I am so incredibly happy to be here, honored and humbled. I think the only person who might be more excited is my niece, Sloan. Purple is her favorite color. She's been asking me for a purple jersey for years, and so excited to see her repping the Pride here soon. This club is a special club. It is a successful club. It is a championship club, and it is really just the honor of a lifetime to have the opportunity to continue to lead a club with such a strong foundation. And so being able to come in here, work with our amazing roster, our talented staff, our great coaches, and our ownership group to really refine what we're doing and continue to lead the positive trajectory of this club is phenomenal. Specifically, I do want to thank our ownership, the Wolf family, obviously our chairman, Mark. This was a wonderful, in-depth process, one that I actually enjoyed, as nerdy as that sounds, but really allowed me to see what a fantastic group this is and how much of an honor it is to be leading the club. I would also like to thank the players and the staff. I'm excited to get to work with them. Like I said, that there's a special thing happening here in Orlando with this team, and I couldn't be more excited to be a part of it. And then I really want to thank our fans, our supporters, and our partners. This stadium is rocking, and we want to continue to do that. And the goal is to put a team out on the field to make everyone proud of what they see day in and day out. And then lastly, I would like to thank my family for their support throughout my career, specifically my husband, John, who is moving to his third state with me. But thank you just for being with me every step of the way. So can't wait to get to work. And Omar, I'll turn it back over to you.
Sounds good. With that, we'll open it to questions. Just a reminder, please state your name and outlet with the first one. And if you're online, please raise your hand. We'll start with Shane, actually.
Shane Whitehead, WFTV, ABC. Caitlin, welcome.
Thank you.
With what you built in Kansas City and the success there, what made this opportunity attractive?
Two main factors, sincerely, are the ownership group here and how all of their success and acumen in leading multiple sports organizations. So that was really enticing. And then the fact that this is a club that's ready to compete right now. You know, this is not a club that's lacked success of recent years. It's built a very strong foundation. You know, winning the double in 24, getting all the way to the semifinals last year. So really, what you're looking at is a team that's ready to compete right now. And so helping to come in, you know, get the team across the line, hopefully in 2026, and then continue the success for years beyond is what I'm looking to do.
Mike Ramajo with Wedge TV. Caitlin, well, first, welcome to Orlando.
Thank you.
I'm just curious to see how everything kind of came to fruition. Obviously, Haley Carter was kind of spoke really positively about you before it was announced. Obviously, she left in November. So how soon did you kind of hear from the Pride, and how soon did the ball start get rolling with Mark that really led to your appointment today?
I'm not certain of exact dates. I know once decisions were made in Kansas City, as you said, Haley was one of the first phone calls I received, just as a friend reaching out. And I think shortly thereafter, it was announced that she was going to be leaving the team, and so then I got another phone call from Haley being like, "Hey, how? Let me talk to you a little bit about what's going on in my life." And then shortly thereafter, heard from Bloom Sports, who ran the search process for the club, and was really humbled and honored to hear from them. Again, a club of this caliber, this type of role doesn't come open very often, and not in the status that it's currently in. So, I think it was about as quick of a turn as you can get in a short off season, but also a very diligent process to make sure that the right person was selected, and I'm thrilled it happened to be me.
Kristen.
Kristen Lebanon, also with questions. Welcome. I'm just curious. You talked about the foundation that's already here in Orlando, and then Mark, you talked about wanting to lead this club into the next era. I guess I'm curious the difference between a club that's seen success at the highest level and how you get them to a club that is sustaining success at the highest level.
I think it's twofold. So one is, this team has reached the highest of heights, but they also ended last year with a sour taste in their mouth. So it's great when you feel that feeling, but then also having that desire, that wanting more, that hunger. And so I think the season ending the way it did last year will lead itself to that well. As far as the foundation and continuing the team, we have to think near term and midterm and long term. As you're looking at players, we're in the second full year of a new CBA with different types of roster rules in this league, and how that impacts decisions that are made when players roll off contracts, when free agency opens, aligning more with a global game. So for me, it's sitting down, with Seb and our technical staff and saying, all right, what is our roster status? Who are the players? We're all in agreement that we want to re-sign, have them here for the long term. Where are the positions that we're going to need to make adjustments, whether that's because we have players rolling off contracts, players with injury, just any number of things. So it is keeping in mind, the immediate, and having a successful competitive team on the field right now, and then also thinking in advance as much as possible.
Awesome.
Mark, just from your perspective, obviously this was, as Caitlin mentioned, a very rigorous process. From your perspective of what you were looking for the position, what was kind of the factors that Caitlin presented to you that kind of stood out and showed that she was the right person for the job?
Well, the short headline is you got a very clear idea right away. She knows her stuff, and that's really the bottom line. But it's also the way she kind of presents a way that she wants to build things collaboratively. She understands the game. She's been around in very high level positions at league level, at federation level. So she has a tremendously interesting and broad breadth of experience. So a lot of credit to our group, Bloom Sports, our executive team. And like Caitlin mentioned, it was a thorough process. I enjoyed it as well, and really excited to see where Caitlin can take us. And we have a great foundation. We're grateful for where we've gotten, and Haley Carter and all the rest getting us to where we are. But we know sustaining and being long term is what we're about. And Caitlin really, we really feel she's going to take us there.
Mark, kind of just following up on Austin's question. Obviously, you've already been owner of this team now for the last few years, and I guess both GMs from both the men and women's side have been always kind of really good to really say how much your investment into the organization has been a huge credit to both teams' success. Just wondering, what more can we expect as far as investment? Because we've seen on the men's side how analytics and scouting has kind of been something that's been really crucial to them. I'm curious to see how that is also kind of, if it runs parallel with the women's side as well.
Well, we know and got the sense right away from Caitlin. She has a great breadth, experience, and knowledge about what's out there, and to be willing to put the team around her that's going to really reach out on that front. Our role as ownership, and the DeVos family, the Hill family, and ourselves, we're about putting the resources in, whatever it takes to build championships and a culture that everyone can be proud of, especially this community and our fans. So part of that growth is going to be increasing the fan connection, growing the game, youth soccer, particularly at the women's level. I know at the league level, I've spent a lot of time. Youth soccer. We need to grow the game. This is the best league in the world, the NWSL, and we need to keep it that way. It's a highly competitive. We want the national team in America to be competitive. So there's a lot of things that go into it, but we want our fans, our community here in Orlando, to really be excited about this team, and Kaylin's going to lead us to get us there.
Nathaniel.
Back here, Nathaniel Rivas with WKMG CBS in Orlando. Caitlin, for you, I know you said you already talked to Coach Seb Hines. How was that conversation, and what has he told you about this team currently, something that it needs, or something that you see about players coming and going, like you said, what's next for this team and getting more players here?
So yeah, had a great multiple conversations with Seb. Fantastic coach, fantastic person. Well respected both in the league and by the people in this building and our players. So I'm really excited to work with him. Most of our planning conversations have been really just getting me up to speed, making sure that we're both aligned on what the needs are. I'm coming from the outside in, saying, hey, when I look at the roster, this is what I see. Does that match up with what you see? But with preseason starting next week, it's mostly we have the vast majority of our roster spots taken up right now, and so then once we get the ball out there, once we start seeing where everyone is on the field, then if we need to make adjustments, we will. But we've already made some good moves as far as bringing in a player like Haley Mace as a free agent, a fantastic player, really versatile on the back line, can play all four positions. To add to a team that's already there, you get a Barbara Banda back, hopefully for the start of the season. That's like you're adding a world class player back to the roster right away. So I think those are two main pieces that we're looking at, and then anything else that we need to do, we'll work together and work as a team and with our group and see what's next.
Back to Shane.
Caitlin, Shane Whitehead, WFTV again. You mentioned next week training camp starts a week from today. Do you feel like your hair's on fire, or do you already? Is there a plan already in place that you can just pick up from here, or where do you think you are in your stamp?
I think the leadership of this club has done a fantastic job of making sure that the club has not fallen behind whilst the search process was going on. A lot of people have worn a lot of different hats as far as getting themselves more involved from a roster planning standpoint than they were before. So do I feel like my hair is on fire? A little, but also that's the job. That's the fun. That's what keeps us coming back for more, and why it's such a exciting and great game that we dedicate our lives to. So at this point, again, we'll see what happens when the ball gets out on the field, and what, if any, adjustments we need to make to ensure that this is a competitive, top quality team that can last the course from March all the way to November.
Back to Austin.
Caitlin, just with your experience with not only U.S. soccer, but with NWSL at the league level, making that transition to GM with Kansas City, you have all those minutiae of different roster rules and regulations. How was that experience in the past kind of helping you in that time with Kansas City and now heading into this new role with Orlando?
It helps in that I know the basic guardrails that are out there, the policies, the procedures, the things to make sure that there shouldn't be a long on ramp of getting up to speed as it comes to operating in this league. It's more operating within the club and meeting all the people here and what those pieces and what makes sense. It also helps that I can pick up the phone and have a great conversation with many of my friends at the league. I've heard from a bunch of them today, so happy to continue working with them. But this is a league that's just evolving at such an incredible pace. It's fantastic. It's great. It's the best league in the world, and everyone's committed to doing everything that we can to make sure the team continues to be. The team and the league continues to be the best in the world. So it's great to see where things have gone since I was an employee of the league 3-4 years ago, however long that was. But I know that everyone is committed, both the league office and the clubs and the board of governors, to make sure that this league continues to be the top in the world.
Mike.
It's actually a question for both Mark and Caitlin. Obviously, considering where this team now kind of has its standard, obviously the double just 2 years ago now, what are some realistic expectations for this team going into a new season preseason starting next week?
Yeah, so I had the chance to meet with a handful of players and most of the staff this morning, and I told them that the expectation is that we are going to compete. We are going to compete every single day on the training field. We're going to compete amongst each other to have the honor of getting out on that field and representing the club. We're going to compete within the league to be amongst the best, and the expectation is that we are competing for trophies every single year. So there's 15 other amazing teams in this league. I think we all know firsthand. I know personally where I was last year in this club as well. You never know. An 8 seed wins the championship. Seedings get thrown out during a November tournament, but at the end of the day, your goal is to finish in the top of the table and then finish with the trophy in November. So that's what the expectation is. That's what the plan is. That's what the goal is.
I think to add to that, I think, to be consistently winning championships, which is our goal, and what Caitlin brings to us, I know she firmly believes that the culture has to be set the right way. And I know Seb feels that way. And so we as an organization will do whatever it takes to build a kind of culture where players feel supported. There's fostering teamwork, there's fostering support, and also the kind of facilities they can be proud of. We're working hard on being the best in that as well. So all of that kind of we're here to help support. But Kayla and I know even through the process, I'm looking forward to it, and all of us in the franchise and in the ownership are looking forward to the kind of culture that will bring us those championships and be a consistent winner.